Hi everyone, we are going to get started today with our snow day flow. We're going to begin by laying down on our mats. Our backs are going to be flat on the earth. Our legs are flat on the earth. In this position, you can think about rolling your shoulders back a little bit. Your chest is coming up towards the sky. And as you're laying on your back, just want you to begin to find yourself on your mat. Taking note of your breath. I invite you to take a deep inhale, breathing through your nose, watching your chest puff up or feeling your chest puff up, and exhaling deeply, maybe sighing that out. I want you to do a few more rounds of that breath. Inhaling deeply through your mouth, raising your chest, your heart center, and exhale, sighing it out. Continue your breathing, making your exhale less of a sigh, but still a release of energy. I want you to just take note of where your palms are. Begin to bring them onto the mat. Continuing your breathing. Today has been a pretty chilly day, so we're really going to focus on warming up our bodies from within. We're going to have a bit more ab work than we normally do, and that's how we'll start off our practice. We're going to walk our legs in so that the soles of our feet are grounded on the earth. Our arms are still by our side and our palms are facing the mat. And on your next inhale, you're just going to very gently roll your hips up towards the sky, finding yourself in bridge. And on your next exhale, you're going to roll your hips back down towards the mat. A very gentle movement, continuing at your own pace. Inhale, lifting your hips. Exhale, releasing your hips. We'll do about 2 more rounds of this movement. When you're ready, we'll meet with our hips on the ground. Bringing your knees towards your chest, lifting your arms on the back of your thighs. Gently begin to lift your head towards your knees. Thinking about giving yourself a small hug here. And from this position, we're going to begin to rock and roll, finding ourselves in boat pose. Allow that to take a few times. Maybe on your next roll up, you come into boat. And now this doesn't need to be perfect. Let's adjust right once we're here. Think about lifting your chest up towards the sky. Taking your knees, so your shins, so they're parallel with the mat, and then pointing our toes. We're not going to bring our arms up. We're just going to leave them by our hips, rolling your shoulders back. Holding here for 5 rounds of breath. On your next inhale, we're going to inhale, lengthen our legs as if they could go to the wall in front of us and our head could go to the wall behind us. Exhale, coming back up. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, meeting in boat. We'll continue to work in this position at our own pace. It's not a race. We'll meet back in boat, releasing our backs towards the mat and coming back into a hug. You can begin to bring the back of your head towards the earth. And we're going to bring our hands behind our thighs again, and then lift our feet towards the ceiling, as if the soles of your feet could touch the sky. If you need to invite a slight bend into your legs, please do so. We're going to reach our hands up, and just for about 10 times, we're going to lift our shoulders off the mat, reaching towards our toes. 10, 9, 3, 2, 1. Coming back down, think about bringing those knees towards your chest. We'll straighten the legs back up, soles of the feet or toes are pointing towards the sky. We're going to clasp our hands together, kind of making a steeple. And we're going to just point towards the left 10 times, bringing our chest close to our feet, coming down. 3, 2, 1. We're going to quickly just switch, pointing towards the right for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring those knees towards your chest. Your head is on the mat. Taking a few rounds of breath here. Settling your heart rate. Thanking yourself for showing up here. And knowing that this is almost over, this ab part. Let's bring those legs back up towards the sky. We're thinking about touching our feet or our toes with our hands, lifting our chest. Two, 1. Rocking back. Thinking about bringing those knees towards your chest. We're going to take our hands to the back of our thighs if they're not there already. We're going to begin to roll ourselves back into boat, taking a few rocks and rolls, and then finding ourselves in boat. Bringing our hands by our hips. Let's inhale, lengthen, exhale, boat. Two, one. We're going to hold boat here for 5 rounds of breath. If you'd like to challenge yourself, you can see if the corners of your mouth rise and make a small little smile for this last breath. And let's roll ourselves into seated position. In this position, begin to feel how long your upper body can be. Bringing our shoulders back, pushing our chest forward. Begin to align the crown of your head with your heart center and your trunk. Inhale our arms up towards the sky. Exhale, fold over. Our hands are at the mat. We can let our head hang loose here. Inviting any small neck stretches. Simply shaking our head yes and no. You should walk your hands over to the right, inviting a small side stretch into our bodies here. We'll walk our hands through center and towards the left. Walking our hands back to center. Moving through 5 rounds of breath here. Seeing if you can walk your hands out a little bit further. Very gently, we're going to come back towards a straight back, rolling our shoulders back, bringing our hands towards our knees, and gently closing our eyes. Let's begin to find a breath of inhaling through our nose and exhaling through our nose. In today's practice, there'll be lots of poses that we're working through. If at any point you feel like you're getting too warm in your body, I want you to stop the pose that we're in, and I want you to go into child's pose for 5 rounds of breath. When you feel ready to join or after those 5 rounds of breath, then you can meet us in that pose. Our goal here is to warm up our bodies, but to not be too warm or too exhausted. I will be guiding you through these poses, but you're the one that knows your body best. Let's take 2 more rounds of breath here. We're going to find ourselves in plank. Bringing our wrists underneath our shoulders. And we're going to extend our legs, creating one long line in between our body. We have 3 options here. You can choose to stay in high plank. Your second option, if this feels like too much, you can bring your knees towards the mat. And if you're in high plank and you'd like a bit of a challenge, we'll work on doing 10 knee dips. So inhaling, exhaling, bringing one of our knees down. Inhale, exhale, the opposite knee comes down. Two more. Meeting in high plank or with our knees on the mat, we're going to very slowly bring our entire body to the earth. Going down in 3, 2, 1. Bringing our legs together, we'll point our toes and we'll bring our hands underneath our shoulders. Your forehead can rest on the mat. And before we do anything, I want you to think about just rolling your forehead on your mat, releasing any tension from today. Beginning to find stillness here. On an inhale, we're going to gently bring our chest off the mat. Our gaze is slightly in front of us, perhaps at the front edge of your mat. You're not pushing yourself up. You're just gently raising. And with each inhale, see if you can just raise a little bit higher. The exhale will bring you down, and the inhale will bring you up. On our next exhale, we're going to bring our forehead to the mat. Curling our toes. On an exhale, we'll bring our body up into high plank. From here, we're going to move into tabletop, bringing our knees underneath our hips. Our shoulders are our hands are underneath our shoulder. In tabletop, let's look down at our hands, creating a little bit of a wider space in between our hands, but allowing our thumb to stay in its natural position. And then take a moment to check in with your knees. You want them to be hips width distance apart. Think about pushing your feet into the earth, dropping your belly, lifting your gaze. And on your next exhale, beginning to tuck your tailbone, rising up. Inhale, moving into cow. Exhale, moving into cat. Moving at your own pace here. Moving through 2 more rounds of cat and cow. Meeting in tabletop. We're going to begin to inhale our right leg behind us and take a moment to look back at it. You want it to be in a straight line with your right shoulder. So you don't want to crank it up and you don't want it to be like it's in a plank, that position. So one straight line. We're going to be moving into Sunbird, and we have two ways of doing this. The first way is that we can just simply bring our knee towards our chest and then re-extend. The second option here is to inhale your left arm up, and on your exhale, bringing your knee towards your elbow. You're finding almost that cat position that we were just in, and then inhaling, extending. We're going to move through 3 rounds of breath together. Inhale, exhale, knee to elbow or knee to chest. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale. We're going to bring our left hand down. Our right leg is still out. Think about turning your left foot so it's facing the sidewall and opening your right arm up towards the sky. This is a variation of side plank. We're just going to invite our back foot on the mat here. Think about creating one line of energy. So you're in a straight line from your left hand all the way up towards your right fingertips. Begin to invite small rotations of your right arm, bringing it up towards the sky. Exhale, bringing it down towards the mat. Begin to reverse your circles, inviting new energy, new warmth. Finding stillness here, we're going to very gently take our left leg, bring it back towards our mat, bringing our right hand down and replacing our right knee. Finding ourselves in tabletop for 3 rounds of breath. We'll move into Sunbird on the opposite side. Inhale, lifting your left leg, checking in with it, either keeping your right hand planted or floating it up. Inhale, exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, last one here. Inhale, lengthen. Really try to reach both walls. And then we're going to just very gently replace our right hand. Doing that side plank on the opposite side. Checking in with our right knee. We're going to turn our right foot. Oops, chair in the way. Bringing our left or our back foot to the ground. Inhaling your arms up. It's like you're making a T with your arms or just one straight line. Your gaze can be up towards the sky. Begin to add circles, rotating your arm from up towards the sky to down towards your mat. Reversing your circles. And beginning to find some more stillness here. Feeling how strong you are in your body. We're going to begin to take our left hand down, replace our knee, and find ourselves in tabletop. Taking a moment to curl our toes and gently lift our hips up towards the sky, finding our first downward facing dog. Think about bringing one sole of your foot down towards the mat, stretching out that leg, and then replacing it. So very slowly walking your dog. Beginning to find stillness here. Your fingers are spread wide, like in tabletop. You're pushing your chest towards your thighs. We're going to inhale and lift our right toes up towards the sky. We're not worried about cranking our leg up. We really just want to find length and keeping that leg as straight as possible. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, we'll bring our right knee towards our right elbow. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, knee towards elbow. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, knee towards elbow. Inhale, lengthen here. And then we'll place our foot. Finding downward facing dog. Resting here for 5 rounds of breath, or moving yourself into child's pose. If you're in child's pose, I want you to meet us in downward facing dog. We'll do the same thing on the opposite side. Inhale, lifting our left toes up towards the sky. Exhale, bringing your left knee towards your elbow. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, knee towards elbow. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, knee towards elbow. Inhale, lengthen for the last time here. And then we'll replace our foot. Bending our knees generously. Shifting our gaze in between our hands. And walking into forward fold. Taking a well-deserved break here. Your gaze can be in between your legs. Your hands can be making circles on the mat, or you can bring opposite hand to opposite elbow. All 4 corners of your feet are keeping you balanced. If you have opposite hand to opposite elbow, I want you to release that grip. And very, very gently and slowly, we'll roll up into a standing position. Rolling our shoulders back, puffing up our chest. We'll shine our palms forward and lift our gaze forward. On your next inhale, you're staying in this position, but I want you to think about lifting your thighs, lifting your knees. On your exhale, you will release, but keep that lifted feeling. On your next inhale, lift through your toes. Can your toes come off of the mat and can they touch the ceiling? Lifting higher. And then on your exhale, you can bring those toes down. Press them into the earth. Feel the 4 corners of your feet. Feel how stable you are, how you've become a mountain. We're going to just bring our arms straight out in front of us. Then just lift them about 45 degrees higher. Take a moment to look down at your feet and heel toe them together so your feet are touching. Bring your gaze back towards center. Inhale, exhale, moving into chair. Inhale, exhale, bring your hands into prayer. You're still in chair. We're going to bring our left elbow over past our right knee. Finding revolved chair. Seeing if we can sink our hips a little bit more. Coming back towards center and releasing into forward fold. Your knees can be bent here, your legs can be straight. It's up to you and how your body feels. We'll bend our knees a bit more, plant our hands, and step back into high plank. Taking our right hand towards the center, we're going to drop our heels towards the right. Inhale, moving into side plank. Think about pushing the mat away. You've prepped your body for this. Very slowly, we're going to replace our left hand, finding ourselves in high plank. Releasing our hips up towards the sky, downward facing dog. Bending your knees, shifting your gaze in between your hands. You can take baby steps into forward fold or one step into forward fold. Release your neck here. Slowly bring yourselves back into that mountain position. I want you to begin to find a point in front of you, a point that's not moving, and we'll shift our weight into our right leg. Very slowly, we're going to lift our left leg, bringing our left foot flush with our shin or to the top of our thigh. Bringing your hands into prayer. Or very gently floating your arms up towards the sky. Finding yourself in tree. If at any point you fall out of this pose, just want you to just try to come back into it. If you're wobbling and shaking, welcome that. That's part of the process. Very slowly, we're going to bring our hands back to heart center. We're going to very gently release our left leg and then slowly press it back down into the earth. Finding ourselves in mountain, your palms are facing forward. You're strong. The wobbles are gone. Finding that point in front of you once again. Shifting your weight into your left leg this time. We're going to Just bring our right leg up, making our foot flush with our shin or assisting it to the top of our thigh. Bringing your hands to heart center in prayer, staying here or floating your arms up. Oops. Bringing your hands back to heart center. We'll begin to release our right foot and bring our right foot back towards the mat. Let's take a moment to bring our feet together. Inhale your arms straight in front of you and then bring them about 45 degrees up. We're going to sit back into our chair here, holding for 3 rounds of breath. Bringing your hands to heart center and bringing your right elbow over towards your left knee. Sinking your hips a bit more. Coming back towards center, releasing into forward fold. Planting our hands on the mat, we're going to step back into high plank. Bringing our left hand towards the center, we'll drop our heels towards the left. Inhale your right arm up towards the sky. Think about pushing yourself away from the mat, making that line of energy between both hands. Believing in yourself here. Very slowly and gently, we'll bring our right arm towards the mat, finding ourselves in high plank. Lifting our hips up towards the sky. Bending our knees more generously, shifting our gaze in between our hands, all of us taking one step into forward fold. I want your feet to be about shoulders width apart here. And what we're going to do is you can bend your knees a lot. We're going to take the palms of our hands underneath our feet. So our feet are pressing down on our hands. And we're finding ourselves in a forward fold. Release your head. If you'd like, you can kind of move your toes a little bit. It's almost like a little massage. We'll take our hands from underneath our feet and roll ourselves into standing. Coming into mountain. We're going to step our right foot back, taking our right heel towards the mat, so our right toes are diagonal, bending into our left leg. Your goal here is to make your front thigh as parallel to the mat as it can be. Once you feel good here, let's inhale our arms up to a T. Your gaze can be where your hips are, so that's forward. Or if that doesn't feel great in your body, you can bring your gaze over your front arm. This is the more traditional way to gaze over your front arm, but sometimes that doesn't feel great. And it's okay to make shifts for your body. I want you to think about how strong you are in this position. We practice warrior to show our strength here. Think about flipping your front palm. Gently floating your front palm up towards the sky, bringing your back palm towards your thigh. Your gaze can be up at your front palm. Finding ourselves in reverse warrior. Very slowly, we're going to begin to bring our arm that's up in the sky down towards the mat. Reaching towards the mat, bringing our back arm up towards the sky, and think about opening your chest towards the sky. Now, if you can't find the ground here, I want you to come out of the pose a bit and just very gently bring your front elbow towards your thigh. Our back arm is coming over and revolving our chest open. On your next inhale, you're going to bring yourself back into warrior two. Think about looking at your back heel and bringing it, 1 or 2 feet in. So your legs are closer apart. And we're going to straighten that front leg. Bring your arms back towards that T. We're going to reach as forward as we can, shifting our hips back, but keeping them open. Dropping your your front hand towards your ankle, your shin, or maybe even reaching the floor. And your back arm is coming up. Finding that same line of energy that we had in side plank. Your gaze is at your front foot. We're going to move into a balance here. So think about inviting a small micro bend in your front leg, heel toeing your back foot up. And we're going to bring our hand to about 6 inches in front of us, lifting our back leg up, half moon standing. Bring your hand towards your hip, feeling that it's still open. Invite all the wobbles. And just very slowly, we'll release, bringing our back foot towards the mat, coming into warrior two. Give yourself a pat on the back. That's a really hard position. We'll bring our hands towards our hips, straighten our front leg, and come into wide angle stance. Whew. We have a few ways you can release here. You can just gently bring your hands towards the floor. Or if you'd like to open your chest a bit more, you can come back up to wide angle stance, bring your hands behind your back, roll your shoulders, and then fold. So all bring our hands towards our hips. Straighten your back and come back into wide angle stance. We're going to do that same sequence on the opposite side. So taking our right foot, we're going to have it face forward so it's perpendicular to the front edge of our mat. Look at your back heel. Think about bringing it up so your toes are diagonal. And we're finding warrior two. So once you feel good in your legs, right, in your bottom half of the structure, then we add our arms. So you're bringing your arms to a T. Your gaze is where your hips are, so straight to a side wall, or it's over your front hand. We'll move into reverse warrior, flipping our front palm, floating it up as our back palm comes towards our thigh. Your gaze is up at your front hand. You're smiling. You're enjoying the heat. Enjoying the fact that this is almost over. And we'll move into side angle, bringing our front hand towards the mat or bringing our front elbow towards our thigh. We'll take our back hand over our head, revolving our chest, and our gaze is up at the sky. Take a deep inhale, float yourself back up to warrior two. Take a look at your back leg. We're gonna heel toe our foot in. Our legs are about 2 feet apart. Straighten that front leg. Inhale your arms up to a T. Let's reach forward, bringing all of our energy forward. Taking a moment to look at your back hip. You wanna keep that open as we begin to drop into triangle. Your gaze is at your front foot towards the mat. You can bring your back foot in a little bit. We're gonna have a micro bend in our front leg and bring our hands just 6 inches in front of us and floating our back leg up. Your hip is open. Your left arm is up in the sky. Oops, we're all wobbling a bit. And we'll bring our back leg down. Mine came down kind of quick there. Finding ourselves in warrior two. Bring your hands towards your hips. Straighten that front leg, wide angle stance. Inhale, exhale, fold. You can bring your hands towards your hips, have a straight back, and we're gonna come into a wide angle stance. We're just gonna find ourselves in mountain pose at the top of our mats. Oh, you can wobble out your way or wiggle out your legs here, and then re-finding that position. In mountain pose, I want you to think that if someone came and tried to poke you, or they tried to move you, you wouldn't move, because that's how strong your body is right now. Think about releasing your body, releasing that strength a bit. Heel toeing your feet together. Bringing your arms straight out in front of you and then just a bit higher. Inhale, exhale, meeting in chair pose. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're still holding chair pose. You can bring your hands to heart center in prayer. This is our last bit of challenge for class. You're going to come up onto your tippy toes. Very, very gently, you're going to release all the way down towards your mat. Staying on your tippy toes and then bringing our bodies back down. You can come into that position where your soles of the feet are on your mat, your shoulders are rolled back. And from here, we're just going to do a few rock and rolls like we started class with. So kind of bringing your knees closer to your chest, just gently rock onto your back, and you can roll up, releasing any tension. These don't need to look pretty. We'll do 2 more. And then find ourselves on our backs. Knees are up. Bringing your arms to a T or to cactus. We're going to drop our knees towards the right. Think about keeping that left shoulder on the mat. When you're ready, I want you to shift your gaze towards the left. Bring your gaze towards center. And on your next inhale, bring your knees back up. And we're going to exhale, bringing our knees towards the left. Think about keeping your right shoulder on the mat. And just like earlier, when you are ready, you can bring your gaze towards the right. If that feels like too much for your body, just bring your gaze back towards center and gently close your eyes. We've added a lot of heat to our bodies in this practice. So when we do end, it's important that you layer up a bit and drink lots and lots of water. Let's bring our gaze back towards center, bring our knees up towards the sky, and give ourselves one last hug. Done a lot of hugs in this practice, it's nice. Now, if there's any last movements you would like to do, one of my suggestions would be happy baby, or bringing your legs up just straight, draining them a little bit. Please do so. But if you are ready to move into Shavasana, I want you to please do that. If you have socks or an extra layer nearby, it might be nice to put those on before you begin to get settled in your final resting pose. If you chose to do 1 or 2 more poses, I want you to gently begin to find yourself in Shavasana. Releasing to the earth. You can have your arms by your side, your palms facing up towards the sky. Gently close your eyelids. Begin to focus in on your breath, its own natural rhythm. I want you to send that breath all the way to your shoulders. See if you can send that breath towards your chest and your hips. Can you extend that towards your knees, your ankles, and finally breathing into your toes. This practice was not easy. Your body did some incredible things. It's important to give it this time, this breath. If you feel your mind begin to wander, I want you to bring it back towards your breath. Bring it back to the space you've created in your body on your mat. Begin to wiggle your toes, waking up. Wiggle your fingers, allowing those small movements to travel to your wrists and your ankles, picking up your joints, embracing any little cracks. Begin to just maybe move your legs a bit, moving your arms. Very gently, when you're ready, I want you to come up onto one of your sides, curling into a ball. Knowing that you have new breath, new energy for the rest of tonight. And very gently, with one of your palms on the mat, I want you to push yourself into any seated position that feels comfortable for you. And with your eyes closed, let's inhale our arms up towards the sky. Exhale, bringing our hands to our third eye. Gently bringing our hands towards our chin. And then bringing our hands towards our heart center. I want to thank you all for coming to class. I hope you had a wonderful day. Let's take one more inhale together, keeping our hands at our heart center. Inhale deeply through your nose. Exhale, releasing that energy. Namaste. Thank you for coming to class, Erin. Kyle did the class with us in an opposite room.
Yay!
I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their evening. If you're taking this at a different time of day, I hope you enjoy your day. All right, bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
of course. Oh, hey, Harry.
Hi, doggy.